Good day, Dr. Colinares. Good day, classmates. My name is Maria Carmela G. ASEBIAS. I'm taking Master's in Educational Management major in Educational Leadership Management. And for today's subject, MEM 645, Education Laws, Practices, Trends, and Issues, I am about to discuss the topics positive discipline and lowering the age of criminal liability. Let's talk about positive discipline, but before that, let's have the different learning objectives. First, define the positive discipline, followed by explain the importance of positive discipline, and third, to give examples of positive discipline. Let's take a look at these pictures. The first picture, we have the mother and then the daughter where the mother is holding a belt. The second picture, there is a father, let's say the father and then a son, where the father is hitting or spanking his son. The third picture, let's say that they are pupils or students, they are raising their hands. Maybe they are being punished by their instructor. And then the fourth picture is there is an adult where he is pointing somewhere, and then we see that the kid go the place or the area where the teacher is pointing. These four pictures are example of corporal punishment. But what is corporal punishment? Corporal punishment is defined by United Nations as any punishment in which physical force is used and intended to cause some degree of pain or discomfort. Just like what we can observe in these pictures. In the Philippines, a study conducted by Save the Children year 2005 that 85% of children have experienced corporal punishment in their homes. It means they are being abused or harmed by their families. They have consistently demonstrated that physical punishment predicts negative outcomes throughout childhood and into adulthood. It increases children's risk for increased aggression, increased delinquency, and antisocial behavior, physical injury, and poor parent-child relationship as well as poorer mental health. It is also associated with lower self-esteem and poorer academic success. The Department of Education, DepEd, has issued Department Order 40, Series 2012, which prohibits the use of corporal punishment and promotes the use of positive discipline. But what is positive discipline? Positive discipline is an approach to teaching that helps children succeed and gives them the information they need to learn and supports their development. It respects children's rights to healthy environment and development, protection from violence, and active participation in their learning. Effective discipline is positive and constructive. School should respect children's developmental levels. In positive discipline approach, we have different principles such as the holistic, strength-based, constructive, inclusive, proactive, and participatory. We are going to expound or explain these different principles. Let's start in holistic. It applies not only to students' behavior, but to all aspects of their learning and social interactions. That's why we need to empower our learners or our pupils in different dimensions such as the physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual. The next one is strength-based. It identifies and builds on the student's strengths. Based on multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner, we have different intelligences and we have our unique style of learning. And we need to encourage our learner and empower them based on their strength. Next is the constructive. It is aimed at strengthening student self-esteem and confidence. We need to encourage them to speak, to build their own ideas, to think outside the box, and let them express themselves. Inclusive. It encourages and respects the diversity of all students, in spite of your race, your gender, your perspective in life, belief, religion. Despite of your physical appearances, you are valued. Proactive. It identifies the roots of behavioral and learning difficulties and implements strategies to promote success and avoid conflict. That's why the teacher talks to the learner or thinking different strategies where the teacher can give the best service to her pupils that can motivate them to become a better person. Participatory, it engages students in the learning. As we can see in these sample pictures, we encourage our learners to engage in their in learning and discover different lectures, topics, concepts on their own. And responding with discipline, positive discipline, I have here different examples where we are going to answer or respond based on positive discipline approach. We have different steps. We have 5 steps. First, what do you think could be the possible reasons why a child might behave this way? Step 2, now remember your long-term goals or your aim for that behavior. Third, in this situation, how can you show warmth or how can you show your love, your care? Number 4, in this situation, how can you provide structure? And step 5, responding with positive discipline. So let's have this example. First, when we have the student or kids grabbing others' belongings such as toys, things, foods, materials, school supplies, and others. Step 1, some reasons could be, for example, the child doesn't really understand the idea of personal property yet because of their age, or the child might not fully understand the effects of her behavior on other children. Could be the child may not know how to approach other child to borrow things or ask for food, and so on. Then the step 2, now remember your long-term goals. You want the child to be able to respect others' belongings. And you want the child to be able to learn to share and to cooperate with others. So that's your target. That's your aim. The step 3, in this situation, how can you show warmth? Understand that children at this age do not understand the concept of ownership and the need to ask and wait for permission. Speak to the child with gentle, reassuring voice. The step 4, in this situation, how can you provide structure? Explain and establish the rules of behavior right at the beginning of the school year. The children themselves should participate in identifying the rules so that they own the rules. Could be help the children understand that if they want to borrow something from their classmate, asking permission is a good way to build a relationship. And then the last step, responding with positive discipline. Do not punish the kid or the student. In a calm voice, explain the value of asking and waiting for permission. You may integrate values education on sharing, cooperation, and taking turns. And try role-playing during playtime. The next example, for example, there are students who have no assignments or projects. First step, find the reason. The student may have low persistence level. Could be the student may have difficulty managing his time, balancing schoolwork and social life, or the student may be pressured by peers, or the project may not be suited to the student's capability. After that, our long-term goals. You want the student to be able to manage time. You want the student to set priorities. You want the student to keep trying. You want the student to ask for help. You want the student to become a competent person. Then the third step, we are going to talk to the pupil in private or the student in private, show concern to the student regarding his performance, provide support and guidance. Number 4, we are going to provide clear instructions about how to do the project, Ask the student about possible time-saving strategies, provide information about the importance of completing project, or let him know that he can always ask for help if he needs it. And then the positive discipline approach, the step 5, we are going to show support and concern for our students. Ask them if he needs help in doing the project. We can also negotiate with him on how he can make up for the assignments and projects. Ask his suggestions or opinions, and encourage students to help each other in completing assignments or projects. So let's have your own opinion or your own side, your own stand regarding these different issues we experiencing as a teacher inside the classroom. For example, we have students who are uh, a behavioral problems such as absenteeism or tardiness. What are you going to do? What are your plans or positive discipline approach? You can comment on our live chat box. For example, you have a student, you are a kinder teacher or a primary teacher, you have a student who are always crying, what are you going to do? And number 3, there are fighting inside the classroom. What are your strategies or approach, or how can you apply the positive discipline inside the classroom? So you may share your insights, your opinions, your stand in our live chat. Thank you very much for your insights, for your comments. Thank you very much. Let me have this saying that practicing positive discipline involves a thoughtful and holistic approach to your relationships with young people. And if you want to have more readings regarding positive discipline, you may read in Positive Discipline in Everyday Teaching, a primer for Filipino teachers, published year 2015 by Department of Education. So let's have our next topic, the continuation of my report, but the different topic, the lowering the age of criminal liability. Again, we have different learning objective for this topic. First, to know the impact of lowering the age of criminal liability, followed by to compare the different opinions regarding lowering the age of criminal liability and give own opinion regarding lowering the age of criminal liability. Let's take a look at this picture. We have two pictures showing a child or a kid inside the prison or inside the jail. And let me read with you the example of a crime or issue abroad, international, not in the Philippines, abroad, showing related issue in this topic. Eric Smith, the picture, the boy, age 13 at that time, he killed 4-year-old Derek Robbie at the New York year 1993. Smith is said to have tortured Robbie as a way of unleashing the anger he had over being bullied by the family members and other children at school. He was convicted of second-degree murder in 1994. He has consistently been denied in his attempts for parole. And then the second example, we have two girls here. Year 2014, 12-year-old schoolmates, Morgan Gasper and Anissa Ware, led their victim to the woods under the pretense of a game of hide and seek. The pair then pinned the female victim down and proceeded to stab her 19 times, causing the victim a serious injury. It was alleged that the girls carried out the attack in order to appease Slender Man, a mythological creature popular on internet forums. And based on their attorneys, both girls have mental illnesses, and the case is ongoing until now. So those two examples, the two issues I am mentioned, I read, are issue of criminal case happen abroad. But here in the Philippines, based on chief of the PNP Women and Children Protection Center, they are they approve or welcome the idea to lower the age of criminal responsibility to 12 years old from 15 years old. Why? Why they are favor? Based on data collected by PNP, a total of 11,324 crimes incidents involving minors were recorded in 2018, 21% lower than the 2017 total of 14,409. Police data showed that theft was the number one crime committed by underage offenders at 6,535, followed by rape, a heinous crime. Next, physical injury, robbery, and drug-related offenses. PNP figures also showed that the number of offenses increased with age among minors. From year 2016 to 2018, those aged 5, imagine 5 years old and below, were tagged in 10 incidents. 6 to 8 years old in 132 incidents, and 9 to 11 years old, 654 cases way back in those years, 2016 to 2018. The figures spike among older teens, 12 to 15 years old, then 16 to 17 years old. According to PNP, it is more apt to lower the age of criminal liability to 12 years old instead of 9, as originally proposed, as it matches PNP data. The House of Representatives approved on the third and final reading House Bill 8858, which lowers the age of criminal liability from 15 to 12 years old. Under the bill, minors aged 12 to 17 years old who commit serious crimes, example murder, parricide, kidnapping, infanticide, or so on heinous crimes, will be sent to the nearest intensive juvenile intervention and support center. But despite of different data gathered by PNP or obvious crimes being committed by our minors, why experts strongly oppose lowering the age of criminal responsibility? Lowering the age of criminal responsibility is an act of violence against children. Children who are exploited and driven by adults to commit crimes need to be protected, not further penalized, according to UNICEF. When the Philippines ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, year 1990, it meant the country committed to place the best interests of children as its primary concern when crafting policies that concern them. Children are still developing their decision-making capacity and therefore do not know how to fully discern by themselves yet. According to Psychological Association of the Philippines, um, children are less able to consider and understand the long-term consequences of their actions. Discernment between right and wrong requires intellectual, emotional, and psychological maturity. This is a tall order for children who are still in the process of developing in all aspects. The PPS said, younger children need protection from the law and should not be held criminally responsible for their actions. The National Commission on Human Rights denounced the bill, saying that punishing children for the crime and abuse of syndicates and other people is against the state's responsibility to look after the interests and welfare of children. Under the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which the Philippines has ratified, the arrest, detention, or imprisonment of children should only be used as a last resort and rehabilitation is a priority. So I am asking you guys, how about your side opinion about lowering the age of criminal liability? Despite that we've seen different crimes committed by our minors. You can type your reply, your answers, your opinions on our chat box. What can you say? Are you in favor of lowering the criminal liability or criminal responsibility or not? Thank you very much for your replies, for your thoughts. Let's have this saying from Barack Obama. Our most important task as a nation is to make sure all our young people can achieve their dreams. So if you have more readings regarding to my topic about positive discipline and about lowering the criminal responsibility, you may visit these different sources. Thank you very much for listening. God bless.